Okay, and we conclude another incredible week, Baruch Hashem, of learning 5 minutes of tefillah a day. And we conclude this type of tefillah called the pilul, which we learned means either to render a judgment or to lehitchaber, to connect to Hashem. And in this final segment, Rav Shimshon Pincus teaches us how, believe it or not, we could consult, take advice from Hashem himself. An absolutely fascinating idea. And he quotes a Gemara in Brachas that teaches us that when someone goes on a road, himlich b'kainech vitzei. Himlich means literally to consult, b'kainech, with your master, and then vitzei, and then go on the journey. Says the Gemara, what does that mean? Says Rav Chisda, this means tfilas haderech. Says Rav Shimshon Pincus, we see something very interesting over there. That obviously, that the words of tfilas haderech are being said in the mannerism of himlich, to consult, lehit ya'itz, to ask for advice. The question is, what does this mean? How could a tefillah, how could davening that I be successful be a form of consultation? And he quotes an absolutely incredible story, which is a beautiful mashal as well. And the famed Mir Mashkiach, Rav Yerucham Levovitz, once had a Talmud, and the Talmud wanted to travel for a certain reason to Varsha. So what did the Talmud do? He gathered together that which he needed. He packed up his suitcase, and of course, what do you do before you leave yeshiva? You go to the Rosh Yeshiva, and you tell him where you're going. So he packs up his bags, he leaves it on his bed, and he goes walking to the room of the Mashkiach. And on the way up, the room was the second floor. He walks up a few stairs, he pauses and he reviews. I'm going to tell the Mashkiach that I need to go for this and this reason. I'm sure many people, you meet with a gadol. Before you go in, you mentally prepare, what am I going to say? He walks up a few more stairs and he again reviews. I'm going to tell Rav Yerucham that I'm going for this reason. And he walks up a few more stairs and he does the same. And by the time he gets up to the door of the Mashkiach and he's about to knock, and one more time he reviews and he says, I'm going to tell the Rosh Yeshiva that I'm going for this reason, he doesn't knock. He turns back around, he goes to his room, he unpacks his bag, and he realizes it's not a good reason to go, whatever he wanted to do. Explains Rav Shimshon Pincus, when you're critically honest with yourself, when you'll review again and again, like the story, that you have to tell over to Rav Yerucham Levovitz why you want to go somewhere. You're going to be honest. You're going to be critical. You're going to be looking into it. Do I really need to go? Why am I going? Is it the right thing? And again and again. And sometimes one will be zeicha to come to the realization that, indeed, I don't really need to go. Says Rav Shimshon Pincus, imagine that same bacher. If Rav Yerucham wasn't there, what would he do? He would go daven Shema Esrei. And during Shema Esrei, he would think, what is the emes? Hashem, myself, I need him. And he'd start reviewing, why am I going? Tfilas haderech, he daven for the journey, where he's going. And he'd tell Hashem, I need to go for this reason and for that reason. And via repeating it again and again, he would come to the realization, I don't really need to go. The tefillah can be a form of consultation for what one needs. And he concludes with a penetrating mashal. He says, the noyig shabba'ilam is someone needs to buy something. He wants to buy a beged. We'll use a suit for an example. So what does he do? He goes to 3 or 4 stores to look for the precise suit. He'll go through tens of different garments to find exactly what he needs. He says, imagine that person would stop and daven to Hashem. And he would explain to Hashem, I've gone to this store and that store and this store, and I've went through 100 different suits. And the reason I'm still looking is Hashem allow me to find this particular. He would pause and he'd realize, wait, is this really something I need? Maybe I've gone too far. And he concludes with the words of what he calls one of the Bali Avaida. We could call him just the wise old man. He says, Davar sha'ata mitbayesh lifnei Hashem lispalalav. If we're embarrassed to daven for it, this person in the example of the suit, if after you'd be davening and explaining to Hashem why he's wasted days and weeks looking for a particular fabric in a certain suit, maybe he'd realize he's gone too far. You don't need it. tefillah in the pure form of pilil, of mishpat, of emes, could be a form of consultation, as through the emes we'll realize what we truly need.